Hi, guys, and welcome to episode 3 of the Lazy Vagabonds podcast with me, Jordan.
And me, Dan.
Today, we'll be continuing on with what happened on the last time. It was just me and Dan on the podcast, and we'll be getting right back into Melbourne part dos. That's Spanish for two.
Yes, it is.
Or,
Um,
as I've been learning at the moment, två in Swedish.
to what?
Två.
But
Um,
mate,
but yeah,
you're
anyway,
the
I'm
true
I'm
man
a
of the world.
I am. I'm a man of many cultures. You tell me. I know it in Bulgarian as well, dve, and I know it in French, do. Anyway, enough of this jibber jabber. Let's get back into the podcast.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna get back into Melbourne part 2 as the first one was getting a bit long.
Yeah.
So where we left off, Dan, where did we leave off?
Well, we were running away from the banana farm, I believe,
Ah,
Jordan.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, that great place.
Yeah. It's a good time.
Yeah. Just yeah, to recap, we were at a banana farm for approximately one day. Dan lasted a couple of hours on the farm. I lasted 8 hours on the farm, and we decided to pack it in pretty quick.
Yes. Not for us.
It was definitely not for us.
We met the guy who had also run away from the banana farm, and we chilled with him for a bit, but then eventually our plane came and we got on that and we were back in Melbourne. And coming back to Melbourne, we hadn't really, I mean, there was a couple people we'd told we were coming back the night before, but like in general there weren't too many. So when we got back, we went back to All Nations, and yeah, saw everyone again, said hi. Few shocked faces, few dumbfounded faces, few people that were just like, "Oh, that
See,
is so you."
yeah, I was going to say by that point, we had been known, become known in our group as the guys that just fuck everything up. So when we got back and we are just like, oh yeah, we spent all this money and we're back again, people were not surprised. They were just like, oh God,
You dickhead.
pretty much.
Yeah.
And yeah, at that point we're just like, yep, whoops, we've done it again.
Could always rely on us for a laugh at
Yeah.
our own expense.
Pretty much. Pretty much. It was a definite running theme.
Yeah.
It
But
was.
when we got back, we moved into our friend Sean's room. You met him on the second episode of the podcast. Leon put us in there. Hopefully you'll meet him at some point as well. But we got back, and when we got back, it was sort of like the group had kind of splintered into two sections, I suppose.
Yeah.
There were people that were still at All Nations and around the hostel, and they were sort of one of the main sections, plus the Swedish girls because they lived just up the road. And then there was a second section who all had an apartment together, which included a bunch of other friends that hopefully you'll meet at
Yeah.
some point.
We don't have to
I
list them
wasn't
all
gonna
off.
name them because that would take too long.
Oh my God,
But
that'd take forever.
yeah, so we got back to the hostel, and because there were people that were still around the hostel, and then there were people that weren't there, and naturally it just happened the people who were still in the hostel with us, we all bonded more together, and the people who were off in the apartment elsewhere all bonded more together.
Mm. That kind of became our Melbourne Group 2.0.
Yeah. Yeah, and honestly, when we got back the second time around, it was different to the first time. The first time there
Oh,
was a
definitely.
lot. There was always every single weekend, all of us going out, no matter what it was about. Not even necessarily on weekends, also on weekdays. But second time when we got back, obviously we didn't have as much money because we've just gone to the banana farm and
We've just
a
spent,
ton of planes and all sorts.
yeah, we just spent all
Um,
of our money.
but also, most of the people that we were hanging out with weren't exactly rolling in money either.
No,
We
everyone was kind of struggling at that point, weren't they? Everyone was like, that's that was the point where everyone was trying to recoup all the money that they spent because the past 2 or so months when we were in Melbourne, we were just going out all the time and just money, everywhere.
Yeah, but I thought it was nice though. I thought it was
Yeah,
I feel like the second time around when we came back to Melbourne, that's when I got to know everyone a lot better.
yeah. It
But
wasn't just always getting drunk
besides who
together.
we were in an apartment with first time round, Ricardo and all them I knew very, very well anyway. But
Yeah,
like compared to that second time round, there was a lot of us that ended up moving in together and stuff, but also because we were more chilled, because we weren't going out all the time, and there was a lot less being in a nightclub where you can't talk, it meant there was a lot more downtime when we
yeah.
were all hanging out together and we were all chatting and we were all like, you know, just getting to know each other a lot better because there was so much more talking involved, I suppose, without the need of alcohol.
Yeah, you definitely you feel like you start to understand people more on like a deeper level because, like you said, yeah, you're not always just getting pissed with them all the time. It is like there will be days when you're all just kind of sat around, just talking shit, really, like sat in a park,
Yeah,
just like kind of messing about without the need to add in any substances, shall we say?
yeah. But like, so I think getting into it a bit more, I suppose, would be so we were at the hostel for probably
Couple of weeks.
around a week or two, and at that stage, the money had got very low. So, as you'd have heard on the last podcast with our friend Lena, we decided at one point that we'd go and stay on the Swedish girls' floor.
Yeah.
It wasn't initially planned to be the floor. They were meant to have another room in their house, and it's like, okay, me and Jordan can stay in that room. But when we went there, it turned out there were three Asians who had moved into the house.
Oh my God,
They were
yeah.
staying in the other room and on the sofa. So
And
it became me and Jordan laying on the
crashing on
Swedish
their floor.
girls' floor. Um,
Yeah, because like obviously the
and
Asian people
sneaking
didn't
in
know.
because we didn't have a key.
Yeah, the Asian people didn't know that we were meant to be there either, and we didn't know if they were gonna kind of tell on us to the
I mean,
landlord.
eventually we all
So,
knew each other was there
oh
because
yeah,
we'd be
they were
sat in
actually
the
really cool.
front room watching
Yeah,
movies and
yeah, because they eventually they were having like a little party to themselves, weren't they? And they all had like they all had wine, and they were like offering us wine and stuff to come and drink with them,
yeah.
and it was kind of funny. But
Mm.
there was a guy who was sleeping in the lounge as well, wasn't there? He had like a bed in the lounge, I think. There was a single bed
Yeah,
in the
it was that
lounge.
he was using. Yes, there was a single bed in the lounge.
There
I
was a
forgot
single bed
that.
in the lounge. Yeah, I
Yeah.
just remembered.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, and then they had a nice little balcony as well.
Yeah, a really nice
Yeah.
balcony.
Because before we moved in, when the house was okay, so before we were gonna move in, there were two other Asians there. And these Asians were ready. These guys were about to leave, and they were there just to go to the casino all the time, basically.
Yeah, apparently they
Um,
just spent all their time in the casino.
yeah. So when they were scheduled to leave, that's why we'd sorted with the girls. It's like, okay, they're leave, and then we can come. And then we got there, and then these other three had turned up out of nowhere. We just turned up, and there was like a bed in the The girls just came to us one day, and they're like, "Oh yeah, there's a bed in the lounge now." And we're like, "Right, okay."
Yeah.
And
So
then
yeah, so we decided to go to the Big W, which is a massive kind of shopping complex in Australia that sells literally anything you want. And we just bought like a couple really shitty $10 block mattresses and decided to stick them on the floor
And
in the
they
bedroom.
they stuck with us for many months.
They
I'll
did.
tell you, actually,
They
they
became
became
so
very
useful.
handy assets for us and our friends.
However, they also got us in a lot of shit at one point, but we'll get onto that.
But
Um,
yeah, so I think in general, there's not too much to say about us staying at Swedish Girl's house.
really,
It was
it was
it was
just
nice of them to let us stay on their floor,
yeah.
and we
That's
got to know the girls a lot better over that period of time because it's like we were all living in the same house, so we all got to chatting a lot more. And
yeah. And
I
that's what I
guess
was gonna say as well. Is that's how kind of close that you can get with people that you go traveling. Is You literally can get to a point where you can ask, "Can I crash on your floor, please? I'm that poor," and then they'll be like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" Because you know that if it was in the flip situation, you'd definitely let them sleep on your floor. It's
Oh
like,
yeah. Well, yeah. Well, when we get into a certain place we all go, we literally there was about six of us that went there because none of us had money. But
yeah.
so around this sort of time after the Swedish girls, Jordan got a job for a day or so at a place
Job
called
number two.
Breslin.
No, actually, I had it for 2 weeks. Let's not.
Oh yeah, yes,
I had it
because
for
you
2 weeks.
managed to get some money together. That's why we moved back into the hostels.
Yes, I managed to actually get myself back on the money scene. I was making a bank,
Yeah.
but
So we were staying at the Swedish girls whilst Jordan was making money,
yeah,
so that we'd have the money
yeah.
to go back to the hostels. And
I
then
got I got a funny story about that Breslin
basic,
actually quick.
basic,
Hang
huh?
on. I got to say I got a funny story about that Breslin quick, right? When I did my trial shift there, like I was meant to be a waiter to start with, but eventually I just got put on like as a runner, just like doing like taking the food out to tables. And there was this one Canadian woman who was like the hostess. She kind of sat out the front and like guided people to their tables. And she was quitting, like in my second week working there, she was quitting and she said to me, she came up to me and she was like, "Oh, I'm really sorry I didn't get to speak to you much, but to be honest, when you were doing your trial shift, you were so shit at being a waiter. I thought you weren't going to make it past the trial, so I didn't bother talking to you." She's like, "I'm really sorry for that." I kind of turned to her and I was like, "Well, thank you so much for that information."
That is very offensive, woman.
I was like, "So you not only did you blank me, but you also said I'm really shit at my job."
Yeah.
It's like you're a wonderful lady, but she was pretty fit though. So
Right. Yes. Um. So basically, come New Year's, and we're still at. Was it New Year's? Yes, it must have been. Yeah, so it comes to New Year's and we meet a friend and like all of us together we're trying to work out what to do for it. And we're not sure. So we're just like we meet this guy called Lars and he's
Lars.
a crazy guy but a really nice guy as
Yeah,
well. And he's just like, "Oh, we're just set up a festival. We set up a
yeah. We'll set up our
festival
own
in the
festival.
park. We go get some massive speakers. We set up like our own DJ thing outside." So the rest of us like, yeah, that sounds really cool, yeah, and like all of us thinking it's bullshit.
Yeah, we
And
we
then
made like a little Facebook group for it and
yeah,
invited everyone to it.
everyone anyone knew was invited. But Jordan was at work, I
Yeah, I
believe,
was at
that
work.
night,
Yeah.
and like the thing kicked off, and actually, it ended up being really busy. There was everyone we knew, but then on top of that, there were loads of people in the park anyway, just waiting to watch the fireworks. So loads of other people came over to where we had the speakers because they were on
Mm,
really loud and reverberate. And literally, it was like a mini rave in the park outside the hostel, and it was really good.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, because I
yeah,
remember, I remember as well because I was walking home from work, and I was walking down the South Bank River, the Yarra River, sorry, um, and I was kind of looking over at Batman Park, which is on the other side of the river, and I was like, that's where we were meant to be having this rave thing, because I was thinking that this rave is going to be kind of crap that we like planned to do. I thought no one's going to turn up, and I looked over, and there was like hundreds of people there, literally hundreds of people. And then I was kind of thinking, oh, then they must just be people watching the fireworks. Then I get over there, and yeah, everyone that we invited had turned up, and it's just like hundreds of friends that we've met, just all there partying and just enjoying the new year. And
we were at the Swedish girl's house the next day. Not everyone's quite hungover, but we're all alright. And Jordan's hungover as well. And Jordan's just like, nah, nah, I can't do it. I can't go
all
to
right,
work.
let's
I'm drunk.
let's. I woke up at 4 p.m. I had to work it. I think it was a really short shift. I was like 6 p.m. till 11 or something, but then you had to clean up. So I would have probably got out at about 1 in the morning. But I woke up at 4 p.m. and I was still drunk. And I turned to Lena. I was like, Lena, I really don't think I'm gonna be able to go to work. I'm not gonna lie. She was like, just get a shower and you'll be fine. So I got in the shower and I was just like
Everyone
down
else
in
would
loads
have
of
gone.
water. Yeah, I was just drinking so much water, and it got to like 7:30 when I'm about to leave to work, and I was like, yeah, nah, sorry, but it's another job I'm about to lose here.
There's no,
I
you
was,
were convinced you wouldn't lose it. That was the other
oh
thing.
yeah, yeah.
All of us were saying to you, mate, you're gonna lose this job. You already haven't been in one day, like before that. And he's like, no, no, it'll be fine. I'll just call in and they'll be fine. So Jordan rings them and he gets off the phone and he's like, oh, I lost another job.
Yeah, no, because I it was really confusing what the guy said because he said to me, "Oh, don't worry about coming in," and I was like, "Oh, okay. So when should I come in next?" He's like, "Oh no, don't worry." I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Well, you're fired." I was like, "Oh, okay. So should I come and pick up my money?" He's like, "Oh, you just come next week and I'll give you your money in like an envelope." I was happy though. I got like $800, so that lasted me a couple of weeks.
Yeah, so after that, I believe maybe the next day was when, like we said with Lena, we were in the house with Stina and Jordan went outside in his boxers and the landlord was there. And that's when we got caught for being in the house. Not that
Yeah.
he knew that we were staying there or anything, but after that, it was sort of like, yeah, we can't get the
Can't keep having
Swedish
you.
girls in trouble enough where they lose their place because of us. So after that, because Jordan had lost another job, but also had some money, we went back to All Nations,
Oh
and
yeah.
Leon put us in this bedroom, and then he progressed. So he's like one of our best friends, right? So he progressed for the rest of our stay at All Nations. Any time a good-looking girl came into the hostel, Leon would, as long as there was a spare bed in our room, he'd put the girls in our room.
Yeah, pretty much. Like there was one morning where it was just like, because there was like an 8 bedroom room and there was just me and Dan in there, and then like we kind of came back from I don't know where we'd been. We came back and there was like six attractive females in our room, and we were just like, what is going on? I think God must be looking down on us. What? And we went down to the reception. Leon just like, oh yeah, just keep putting them in your room.
Yeah. It was
Thank you.
funny though, because like me and Jordan were both so around this time as well. We had a couple German friends called Louisa and Miriam, and they were about to leave, I believe, like for a bit. They were going on a
They were
road
going.
trip. They
Yeah.
were doing the West Coast at the time, and so they were going there, but they worked at a fish market, and basically I just said to them one day, I was like, look, you're leaving. We need jobs and they're like, okay, I'll speak to my bosses. And they spoke to their bosses. And we went down to the fish market one day and we just wandered down and we saw all the Germans there, like Louisa and Miriam and the two boys. And we were like, oh, hey guys, and all this. And then one of them was just like, oh, yeah, the boss said come in, come like tomorrow or something. No, it was a couple of days later. He said, come a couple of days
Mm.
later, you can have a trial. So we're like, awesome, we've got a trial. So we go back to the hostel, and I think that night next day I woke up, or we went out, and I woke up the next day, and I had a very bad cough, very bad to the point where I couldn't really talk, and my throat was fucked. And at that stage is when all the hot girls started moving into the room. So all of these girls came into the room, and me and Jordan were like, "Well, we've got to go out tonight." And then we convinced Dom to come with us and the Swedish
Oh,
girls to come with us. And we all went down to U Bar, which you've heard about in the last podcast.
yeah.
We
It was
all
actually
went
a really
down,
fun night.
we all went down there and it was a great night. But obviously, with me in the condition I was in, I should not have been going out.
No, it
And
just made you a hell of a lot worse.
the next day was the day of our trial, and we had to be there at 5. So we had to get up at 4 in the morning. And I went to the trial with Jordan at the fish market. And I had such a bad cough that on my trial shift, after about an hour, they're like, all right, go home and let us know when you're better. And I was like, okay. So I go home and I get back in the bed about 2 hours afterwards. And I'm just like, over that entire week, odd, I'm basically just laying there, trying not to cough too much in case I keep the rest of the room up.
Oh, it was ridiculous. Like literally, just one tiny little cough would set him off, and he'd cough for about 5 minutes straight, and it was so loud and so obnoxious. Yes, but so
Yeah,
yes, thank you, Dan. Thank you for keeping everyone up. Because I got the job as well at this point, so I, had to wake up pretty much every day at like fucking 4 o'clock in the morning. And when you got some dickhead keeping you up all night, coughing.
yeah. But like to speak of the fish market job, it actually wasn't a bad job. There were
No,
bad
it was
sides
a good
to
job.
it, such as smelling of fish all the time.
Oh man,
But
our trousers stunk of fish.
the good thing with it though was it was quite easy. It was just,
What
well,
bag of fish?
it is what
Bag
it
of
is,
fish, sell a
isn't it?
fish.
You're
Bag of
bagging and
fish, sell a
selling
fish.
fish, or you're helping bring in
The fish stock. Taking
yeah,
in the tunas, man. Taking in the tunas was so cool because it's like
or
that freaking huge, like 50 kilo tunas, and you have to like
yeah.
hang it up on a meat hook and stick it in
And
there.
you'd be like washing oysters and stuff like that as
Oh, I was always put on washing oysters, man, all the
you
time.
just generally done all these kinds of jobs.
Yeah.
And yeah, basically, so at one point we were all in All Nations, a bunch of us, and our friend Sean had just came back from his time in Canada, and he didn't. He had a friend where he worked who was going away, and he was going to be house sitting. So then there was me and Jordan who we just started this job, but obviously over the last week or two in the hostel, Jordan spent all the money he saved up from the other
Paying
job
rent.
before getting fired. So we're like, can we come with you? And then two other friends, Manny and Toby, they've
Right.
just got back from a road trip. So they're like, can we come too? And then two other friends who me and Jordan met for the first time, and Peter and Eric, they're like, oh, we've just got back here and we're really poor as well. Can we come too? And then our Danish
Danish
friend
Lena.
Lena, she's
She,
just like, I'll come too. And then
so at
so
this point,
Sean's house sitting this house, right? But there's about 8 of us
yeah.
going with him to stay so that we can stay somewhere for free. And Ivanhoe's not close to the city. It's like a 40
Nah.
minute train out. So we're like way out of the city. So we're all there, and Sean's like, right, you've got to be really quiet because there's a drum kit and stuff, and we start playing, and they're like, no, 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 you can't do that. And then outside we find a unicycle, and we're like, oh, let's try and ride this.
Oh
And
man,
none
I
of us could.
smashed my elbow against the wall driving that unicycle as well. I could barely bend my arm for like a week afterwards.
And then outside, the person whose house it is, they have like plums growing on trees and like
Oh,
courgettes and stuff growing in the ground, and they have some chickens at the back laying eggs. So we're like
yeah,
eating all of the produce. They're like, oh yes, and like catching the chickens because that's what
yeah,
you do when
catching the
there's
chickens, picking
chickens.
them up. It's like by the time we left there was no plums left because of Eric. I swear that guy always had like 4 plums in his pocket.
But so most of us obviously at this, well, most of the others actually, me and Jordan were working at the fish market, so we had to like we'd wake up at 4:15 a.m. and we'd
Yeah.
have to book an Uber to work that would get us there ready for 5 a.m. So, and then afterwards we'd have to get the train back every day, and we'd get back to the house by about 6. So we were doing quite long days, and then we'd get back and we'd be chilling. But for most of the guys, they weren't working at the time, so most of them would just chill around the house all day with not much to do. And then on our days off, we'd be doing the same. And then one day, like you weren't here at this time because
No.
you had
Because I
work,
don't.
didn't
That's
you?
what I mean. That's why I don't understand what happened at that point because I had to go to work. I think. Did you? I don't. Anyway,
I
something
wasn't
happened
still there,
with
but
the
like,
job, but it was only me working there at the time, and
but
obviously
this
I didn't want to. Hang on, I didn't want to pay for an Uber on my own, so I just ended up asking the Swedish girls if I could stay at their house again for like just the days that I was working, and obviously they let me. But
yeah.
yeah, so the day of what you're about to explain, I wasn't there. I was staying at the Swedish girl's house.
But anyway, the funny story and the important story is we're back at the house one of the days, and basically the owner that's away has paid the handyman to come and fix something. He's fixing the pipes or something. So he comes into the house, and all of us are at the house, and obviously Sean's not meant to have many friends at the house. So Manny is or Manny or Pia, I believe. One of those two, maybe both. They're pretending they're the only one at the house, so they greet the guy, let him in, show him where the pipes are. And at the time, me and Lena are in one of the bedrooms, and Eric's outside in the shed, and Toby's somewhere else. And we're all just hiding in the different parts of the house, quiet as fuck. Like, hopefully he doesn't come in and see us. And like everyone's just sort of running around the house as you hear this guy walking around it, trying to stay out of sight, make sure we don't get seen and the jig's not up. And yeah, it was fun. It was like playing I don't know, it's hide and
Hide
seek,
and seek.
grown up
That's yeah.
version. Hide and seek, otherwise Sean gets in shit with the house.
Oh man, could you imagine if the guy walked into the bedroom and you're just both kind of sitting there hiding behind the bed, and you just kind of poke your head up?
Yeah,
Shit, I think he might have seen us.
yeah.
He's like, I see you over there. Shh, don't say anything.
Oi, we're not here.
Nobody in here, go away.
But yeah, so we stay at Ivanhoe until the guy comes back, and I think we were there for about a week probably. And it was really nice. It was actually a really nice experience because it was a very chilled out place. It was very, like we said, there were the chickens in the back garden, and even just having the garden being out of the city, it's like it was very naturey. It was very relaxed. In the evenings, there was this feeling of like, okay, we're in actual Australia. We're not in the city now, and like
It was very homey, if you
yeah,
know what I mean.
it,
It
it
was
felt
just
it felt quite it was just a nice change of pace to being in the city all the time, I think.
definitely because it's sort of going from a hostel into just like a proper house, not like an apartment as well, like an
Having double
actual
beds and
house, like yeah, with a garden in that way you can go and chill
having a
out in.
kitchen,
It was
having a
nice.
kitchen and
Mm.
sofas and stuff like that.
Yeah, having a
Again,
lounge, like a proper lounge
because
that you
obviously
could go and chill in.
we had this first time round that we were in Melbourne with the apartments, but like this was the first time in a long time that
Mm.
we'd had it. So every single time you end up in an apartment traveling, you're kind of like,
Oh, you feel like
wow,
kings, man. It's
yeah.
just like, oh, look at this luxury. My God, why didn't we do this from the start?
But this became a procession. So for the next, well, for the rest of the time we were in Melbourne pretty much.
Yeah, it
Um,
was always
yeah,
apartments from then on, wasn't it?
yeah. From this point onwards, it was all of us that were at that apartment minus Danish Lena.
Yeah.
So it was always me, Jordan, Sean, Manny, Toby, and Pia and Eric. Right? They all of us were in them until Pia and Eric went home. But all of us were always in them, and
Yeah.
then the
So
Swede.
how many people is that?
That's seven.
7 people.
Yeah,
Seven.
and then at different times over the period until we left, we also had both Swedish girls live with us. We had Leon live with us. We had Adam live with us, and we
I,
had one
mm,
of Sean's
okay.
friends, Ryan, live with us.
What is that? That's like 12 people.
Yeah, yeah, but not none of us all at the same time. There were
No,
different.
yeah, people come and go at different
So
points.
coming towards the end of Ivanhoe, the Swedish girls were getting quite sick of where they were living.
Yeah.
And they were like, we don't want to be here anymore. We're not
And
liking it.
yeah,
Uh,
they wanted to move back into hostels, I think.
so we
But
persuaded them to come and move
live
in
with
with the
us.
rest of us. So we go to Airbnb this time,
Yes.
and we go
Fantastic
upstairs.
website.
Yeah, and basically we say that there's four of us, when
Yeah.
realistically at this stage of our journey there is Sean, me, Jordan, Toby, Manny, Eric, Pia, Stina, and Lena. So
Is that
there's
nine
actually
people?
nine of us.
Yeah.
Um,
9 of us, and we're looking at places with like 3 double beds and like a bunk bed, and like it's got like a couch in there as
and
well.
this
So
is where the air mattresses come
yeah,
into play again.
yes, and we had both of our air mattresses. So if we get a house reasonable sized with a few double beds, we think we can fit everybody in.
And we
So that's
do.
what we did. That's what we did. We would kind of book these houses, like book these Airbnbs for like a week at a time, and
And
we
it would be 2 double beds, a sofa, and then our air
yeah
mattress.
yeah, and then
Nice.
so yeah, so we'd kind of rock up, and we learnt the system by this time, and we'd kind of turn up with only half of the people. So it's like, oh yeah, no, there is only four people who are moving in. We'd get all the keys and stuff, and we'd kind of move into the house, move all the stuff in, and then we'd kind of sneakily be like we'd literally the other people, the other half of people would be like round the corner in the park waiting. And like we'd
Yeah.
kind of phone them up and just be like, okay, yeah, the ghost is clear, you can come now. And we'd all just kind of like scamper into the building, like running in one by one, just up
Because
into the building.
obviously the point of this being, most of us are still very poor. So
Yeah,
every single time it's like, okay, we can all sneak in now. And
yeah.
it's like, it's to save us like money on
Oh
what
my
we
God,
pay
we
on the
saved a
hospitals.
shit ton.
But like, so the first one we move into is us nine. And from that house, at the end of our time there, Stina's left to go to a farm.
Yeah, yeah, she did.
Lena leaves to go to Bali, and then it's just our core seven again. Our core seven stick together through pretty much every apartment with add-ons, right?
Yeah.
And also during our time, so from this apartment with the seven that we have, no,
Yes.
no,
I was
we
gonna.
go down to six because Pia also goes off to a strawberry farm.
Yeah, Pierre goes to a strawberry farm
So
for a
we're
little while.
down to six in the next apartment, which is me, Toby, Jordan, Sean,
Manny.
Manny, and Eric, and Lena for the first night. Lena for the
Yeah, she
first
was
night.
in there for
So
one
we
night.
moved to this new apartment, and it's a very small apartment. This one,
Oh, yes, yes, it
very
was.
high up, very small, like a nice apartment but small. And the funny thing that happens, right, is when we get there, we book it and we say there's four of us again, and we show up at the thing, right, and the funny thing is, the woman that meets me and Sean and I think Toby was the
Yeah,
other
I wasn't
one.
there.
But the woman we meet happens to be the same woman we rented the last Airbnb of. So she's just like, oh, it is really just you, right? Because this
Yeah.
is my mum's one. This is my mum's one.
And
And
it's
we're like,
brand new as well.
yeah,
She said it was like brand new as well. It's just been done. So everything in there's like new. I think that like the oven wasn't even switched on at the back to use, so we couldn't use that for the first couple of days.
yeah.
That's how new this place was.
We were just like, yeah, no, it's just us. It's just us. Yeah, fine. So she goes off eventually, and we get everyone else inside.
We'll
And
scamper
we
inside.
tell them like, oh, this woman, like, she might turn up at some point. We have to be careful at this one. And then this is also when one of the funniest things that happened in Melbourne, in my opinion, happens. So whilst we're there, well, two of the funniest things happened in that apartment. One, so our friends, Miriam and Louisa,
Oh,
they both get back from the West Coast. So me and Jordan are like,
let's
awesome.
let's go out for some
Let's
drinks.
let's go on a night out and catch up. And so the next morning, I wake up on the air mattress, not remembering much. But I go in my pocket and I'm like, huh, I've got another phone. And then I look in my wallet as well and I'm like, oh, and
We've
I've
got
got
a
a
bank
bank
card.
card. And they're both Louisa's. And then Louisa and Miriam come to pick up like Louisa's stuff, and Miriam's like, I've lost mine as well. And we're like, oh no, that's really sucks. And she's like, yeah, I've cancelled it now. It's a shame that you don't have my stuff. And I'm like, yeah, yeah. So I'm going through my wallet when we go to Subway downstairs, and I also end up having Miriam's bank card. And I'm just like, what happened last night? Did
Yeah,
you
I
guys
have
just
no
start
idea.
chucking your shit at me?
Honestly, I have no idea. You must have gone to them like, oh, I'm going up to the bar, and they probably gave you their card or something to get them a drink, and you just thought, fuck it, I'll keep it.
It's just I had everyone's shit.
Oh no,
Like I was the best thief ever that night.
oh, you really were, mate. You could have made off with thousands.
Oh,
But
but
what was the
yeah,
other? What was the other funny thing you said? Is it about the table? I think that was the
table.
table. Yeah, don't you remember? You were so.
That was the last apartment before we left. That
You
wasn't
said
that one.
you said two funny things happened in that apartment.
Yeah, at this exact apartment.
Yeah. So what was the other
And one
funny
of the
thing?
coolest things. In the bathroom.
if you want. Well, you might as
No,
well.
no,
Now
no,
you
no.
said it.
But like what I was thinking as well was it was one of the coolest experiences was on the roof. Because
Was that this apartment?
it was the one without the rooftop. It was still being made. It was the
Oh,
one that on the top of the thing. It was like
yeah,
a building site.
yeah. So, because in Melbourne you've got this Eureka Sky Deck or Sky Tower or whatever it's called, and it's the highest building in Melbourne, and you can pay to go up to the top of it, which we did, and it is definitely worth doing. Don't get me wrong, but the problem is you've got all the windows and it's got loads of glare, so it's hard to get a nice picture of like a panoramic picture of the city.
Because we were
So
there with Lena.
yeah, you and Lena, we decided to go there because at some point we were just like, we're not really doing anything anymore. We should actually get out and, start experiencing the city again. Because that's a problem that you have when you're in a place for so long. You kind of stop thinking in like traveling sense and start thinking, okay, this is my home now, and you just kind of get back to a routine of like home life. But anyway, so we're in this apartment thing, and the Eureka Skydeck's 84 floors, and this is the second highest building. Our apartment is the second highest building in the city, and it's got 77 floors. And we knew that it was still being built, and there was one day me and Toby got home, and Toby just turned to me and was like, I wonder something. And we was kind of talking, and he was just like, well, because all of the builders, they're not all going to have key cards, so I wonder if we can just press and get to the top floor. So I was just like, yeah, fuck it, let's do it. So we pressed it, and it took us all the way to the top floor, and we got out, and there was just like the building pylons, like the main structural beams. That's all there was, and like some safety fencing around so you don't walk off the edge. And then we just kind of saw it, and we're like, holy shit, we need to go and get everyone and bring them up here. So me and him, we like sprinted down the stairs because you can't actually call the lift up to this floor. So you have to go down about 50 flights of stairs to get out. And you have to be lucky as well because half of the doors to get onto the floors were locked. So you kind of had to pick a lucky door and hope that you could get out. And we got everyone, and we all we took a few cans of beer and some other stuff, and we all went up there, and we just kind of sat up there and on the 77th floor and just chilled out. And I can honestly say that we're probably just a handful of people that have been able to see a view like that, unless you're in like a helicopter or something. Because, like I
Mm.
said, you've got the glare of the Sky Tower on the windows, but we had no windows, so you could just see everywhere. It was at night as well, so you can just see the whole
And
city at
they
night, and
had
it was
they had the
beautiful.
crane loading thing on the edge that hung out
Oh
over the
yeah,
city as well, so
yeah.
you could go out on that.
That was scary as fuck to stand on
I mean, it
because it was.
holds a crane though.
Yeah, I know, but still, you're literally like 2 meters past the actual building, and you look out from the side, and all you just see is a drop for like 200 meters, and you're just like, holy
It was
shit.
really cool up there though. Like we made
Yeah,
a thing of going up there. Um,
yeah, we used to go up there like every night before we left, and I think we were talking about on the other podcast as well, and like it was really obvious who was doing it, who was going up there, because there was all like the
the foot.
dust and stuff. So there was just like footprints wandering down the stairs and through our hallway up to our door. So I was just like, at the end of the night, thought I was being sneaky. So I'd like just run up to everyone's door so the footprints ended at their doors, and I'll throw them off.
Yeah, but then there were two other pivotal things that happened whilst we were in this exact apartment as well. One specifically for me because it altered something that I had to do, but two, which affected both of us. First one was this was the apartment at which we lost our fish market jobs. So
Yes.
this was because on one of the mornings that I woke up, I was awake, and to be fair, I was fine. But I woke up and I woke Jordan up, and I was like, it's time to go to work. And Jordan was like, oh, no, mate, I'm not going. So to me, in my head, I'm like, what? Get up. And he's like, no, I'm not going. And I'm like,
Well, if you're
well,
not
I'm
going,
not going if you're not. I'm like, fuck this. You don't get a day off, you cunt. Like,
it wasn't really a day off though. I just accepted the fact that I'm not going back. And you was like, nah, fuck that.
but
Uh,
basically.
You got jealous about me quitting my job, so you thought,
No,
"Fuck,
because you
I'm
didn't
quitting
say
again."
you were quitting at all,
No,
mate.
no,
You just
I know. I just said
decided
I'm
you
gonna have a day
retired
off.
again, as always.
Yeah, I'm just like, oh no, I'll have a day off.
But so I didn't go in as well. And after that, we just assumed, like, because we were talking to Louisa again at that point.
Oh,
Because Louisa came up and we told Louisa what had happened. And she was like, oh, yeah, I went to the fish market. And one of the guys said, you best not show up here.
yeah.
So
He
we were
said if
like,
you
okay.
show up again, we'll fucking kill you.
And then
So okay.
they text us back, okay, a couple of days later, and they're like, oh, do you still want a job? Well, specifically, they text me. They'd already cut Jordan's hours, so I'm pretty sure they were done with him. But like,
They wanted us. They wanted both of us to work there.
they messaged me asking if want to go back. So I say, yeah, that's fine. Jordan as well with a question mark, and they're like, yes, he can come too. So we're like, okay, we'll go back. And then the night before, it's like everyone's up and hanging out and having fun.
She messaged me because I remember texting the woman back.
Okay, well, anyway, I don't. This has no.
No, I know, but I'm just,
You,
I'm a valued person, Dan. I'm a valued member of the workforce. She messaged me as well. But
right.
yeah, so we decided to kind of stay up with everyone and just kind of have a couple of drinks and that.
Yeah.
And then it kind of got to like what did it get to? It got to like midnight, didn't it? And we're just like, nah.
Yeah, it was actually. It wasn't actually that late. It was just late in terms of when we had to get up.
Yeah.
And we said like, oh, if we get up, that's fine.
Yeah.
And then
We were like, we'll set the alarm, and if we wake up for it, then we'll go to work.
and we did. I woke up for it. I woke up for the alarm, and I, similar to the other morning, I goes, Jordan, and he's like, yeah. I was like, are we going to work? And Jordan's like, I'm not. And I was like, okay.
Oh, don't, why are you putting all the blame on me? That's bullshit. You were looking for me to say no.
Let's
You were
be
like,
honest. In both of these situations, you were the person that said, I'm not going in.
well, that didn't force you not to go.
No,
You
of course
have
not.
your own
I
brain.
done the same, but I'm saying in both scenarios, you lose the job
Yes.
still.
Oh, so do you, mate. We
I
both
reckon
agreed
in
that.
the first scenario, I go in. It's because you said no that I said no to.
Well, that's not my problem if you want to say no. If you want to copy me, mate, go for it.
Yeah, true. I just felt like you were getting a rest. And I was like, no.
So, no, fuck that guy. I'm
Yeah.
having a rest as well. How dare
But
you?
anyway, so that's the first thing that happens. Both of us lose our jobs at the fish market at that point, which sets us on a path of going to a farm again. But the
Yes.
second thing that happens while I'm here is my bank card, which
Uh,
sets me on another path of actually returning home at some point. But yeah, my bank card happens at this apartment as well. And literally, I ring up the bank and I'm able to get 2,000 transferred over on an automated thing, but they said you can't do it again. So I get that money transferred over, and now I don't have a card, but I have 2 grand. So that puts me in a oh shit scenario because I'm like,
yeah.
I only have this now. But like,
Yeah.
so yeah, from there we go to the apartment opposite the police station.
I think that's where we had the most people in that
This one
apartment.
is where
That's where we had Leon and Ryan.
Leon joins us. Ryan starts living with us. Adam
Crashing on
for
the
all the
couch.
time, but
Yeah.
he's there.
I just kind of kept falling asleep on the couch, didn't he?
But
And
yeah,
like once Adam falls asleep, you just don't wake him up.
Adam is the best sleeper ever.
Literally, as soon as you stick on a film, it's just like, oh, Adam's passed
He's
out.
snoring. He's
Yeah.
just snoring immediately. Fascinating.
I don't know. I wish I could do that, man. I wish I could just fall asleep wherever like that. Because, like, again, as soon as he's asleep, you cannot wake him up.
Yeah, yeah, true. And then
My God.
so we're at that apartment next, and that was That was a fun apartment as well. Like this is the nicest one in our opinion we've
Oh
had
yeah, because it was the
because
biggest one,
it's
man. It was
very
massive.
big, it's very spacious. There's enough beds for everyone easily, and the lounge and kitchen area is so big that you could probably lay a good 10 air mattresses down
Yeah,
there. But
oh, we could have had like
realistically,
20 people
we
staying there.
looked at extending, but we couldn't because it was already booked ahead of us. But like we
Yeah,
were thinking, we
let's
could
just
pay
book this
like
place.
$10 a week each if
Yeah,
like
like
everyone
our
was here.
traveler brain came in and we're just like, shit, we can save a lot of
This
money
is a
here.
great house to cheat the system.
Imagine one day like the owner just walked in, there's like 50 of us just sleeping on the floor. It's like, what is happening here?
This is
I'd,
not a squatter.
I'd just pretend to still be asleep and hope someone else takes the rap for it. Then someone, the person closest to the door, is going to have to get up and explain it at some point. So they've got 50 people to get through before they have to start talking to me.
Yeah.
Great.
But yeah, like it was a good apartment. It was low down to the ground as well, so you didn't have to worry about an elevator for hours at a time.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, it was quite a nice place. It was close to the city. For those of us that had jobs at the time, it was close enough for them to go to work.
So we were kind of at this apartment, and yeah, it's probably by far the best one. But we're getting this. This is like our third apartment, and like the money's starting to run out at this point. And it was it the apartment after this one was the
The
one.
house. We done the house in Brunswick, then there
Was it
was the morning at the
Brunswick?
last
Yeah,
one, and then we left.
yeah. So all right, so then we decided because like our staying at Ivanhoe was quite nice. So I think we all decided together as a group that we should try another place that's outside of the city again because they are a hell of a lot cheaper. Like, if you're looking like a bit of a tip here now, like not just talking crap all the time, but if you're looking to really save money and you don't have work commitments, try and get out of the city a little bit, like even like just 5-10 kilometers out of the city. Like the price of rent, man, it drops by like 25-30% just because it's out of the city, and transport's still really good to get there as well. Like it's
Yeah, that's
maybe
regular
20
track.
minutes 20 minutes, like trains, trams, and everything still get to those places sometimes.
Yeah,
Maybe not
you're
trams
just
so
in the
much, but
suburbs.
yeah. But yeah, so we decided to go to East Brunswick, I think it was, or West Brunswick. One of them, Brunswick. Brunswick. It's like a really hipster place. And yes, I think the same amount of people
Nice
again.
house. No, this time it was me, you, Eric, Sean, Manny, Toby, but Pia came back. And
Adam was in
Adam.
it as
Adam
well.
was with us too. 8 of us.
So yeah, we were staying
Oh,
in
and
this house.
Pia's friend.
Oh yeah, Pia's friend decided to come and live with us as well, and no, she was a nice girl. She was a nice girl, and yeah, this was kind of when my money personally was getting really, really, really stretched. I think that was one of the contributing factors to going outside the city as well, is because a couple of us, including me, our money was really dwindling at that point. So we were at this
I think
place.
this was the stage onwards where you only pre-drank goon for the rest of your time in Australia, pretty much.
No, no, sometimes I'd like when I had a good few weeks at work, I'd invest in some proper beers. But like when we actually don't worry, that's a different
This
story.
is the future.
Yeah. But so yeah, we were at this place and there wasn't really much to say about this place. This place probably for me to do with money, I was starting to get really, really bored of Melbourne at this point. We're 6 months into our stay in Melbourne, and it's like it's got to be time for something new. And we obviously had to do our 88 days farm work by this point
Yeah,
as
this is
well.
when, because this is when I said to
So
you again, I was like, Jordan, we're gonna have to go to a farm again.
yeah,
And
and
I
obviously
I
after,
started looking online, didn't I? I found
well,
the
no, we
app.
both did. We both did.
Because I
But
rang the guy. I rang the guy from the supermarket. I was on the phone to the guy and asked him,
yeah,
the Malian guy.
yeah, because we had Dom and Stina, and they were both at the Malian at this point, and they were saying that they were getting decent money. So we were just like, yeah, we'll ring them, and we'll kind of book into the Malian to go and work there because the almond farm supposedly was meant to be hourly pay, and there's hourly pay of like $24
Oh
an
yeah,
hour,
that was the story.
$24 an hour, and it's good. Apparently you're working like almost 100 hours a week, so you're making a crap ton of money, supposedly. So we're just like, yeah, all right, we're doing this. We book it, and then we tell everyone, oh, we're leaving in a week. We're going to do our farm work, and
Yeah. So
kind of,
it was kind of like oh okay, like
yeah,
it was another goodbye like the first
yeah,
time. And not
not as big as the
not as
first time.
emotional because we'd already done
Yeah,
it once now. Although more emotional for certain reasons. Like it was more emotional with the friends we'd made in a
yeah,
bigger way this time. Like we were way closer with the Leons and the Shawns and like those kinds of guys.
yeah. Because the
Matty
thing
and
is, as
Craig.
well, this time it
This time
was,
everyone was always together sober.
yeah, and as well, whereas with the banana farm, because we returned so quickly, it wasn't like we really left them. But obviously, this time round, we knew that this will probably be the last time we see a lot of these people for a very long time.
Yeah, like once we were on the bus and we'd left, you felt it.
Oh
You're
yeah,
like,
man, it was
okay,
sad. It was sad. But yeah,
we'll speak about that in the future.
we'll speak about that in a second. So we're at this place, and like I said, man, I was getting really bored of Melbourne. Like Melbourne, don't get me wrong, Melbourne's amazing, but I came there to travel the whole country. I didn't with 6 months in one place. Like I was saying like a minute ago, is just it starts feeling more like home, and you get into your homely routines rather than that traveler mentality anymore. So it was definitely time for us to leave at that point. And yeah, it was. Yeah, it was about the right time for us to kind of say our goodbyes and that, because we still bought all of these things in Melbourne to do on the East Coast. So we thought it's about time to start saving some money and going to do what we came to do originally. I feel like we kind of lost sight of why we came traveling for a little while.
I feel like yes, in a way, but also no. I feel like it wasn't. To me, it wasn't the case that we lost sight. It's just we got there, and for me, I realized that the people were a massive important part of my experience. If
Yeah,
we'd have
I'm not
moved
saying
on,
that.
if no, but I'm just saying,
Hmm.
one way to look at it is we lost sight. Another way to look at it is we just changed what it was our focus was on.
Yeah,
Because for
yeah.
me,
Oh
I
yeah,
don't
we
regret any of my time in Melbourne.
I never said that. I never said that. I regret any of it. I was just saying that I started to get bored
Yeah,
of the same crap over and over again.
yeah, like you finding it Monday.
Yeah, like I said, I think it was heavily influenced by the fact that I didn't have any money. I was starting to get like a little bit depressed and stuff. But yeah, so I don't think much really happened at that Brunswick house, to be honest. We kind of
We were all just relaxing.
yeah, we chilled out, and it was kind of like a really yeah, calm end to our time in Melbourne. But then we went to the last apartment, but we were only there for
We were
one
there
day.
for one day. We left the
Day
morning
for-
after.
Yeah,
Um,
and then we kind of said our farewells to everyone, and we got on the coach to
this was actually
Mildura.
this was when I decided. Well, you did it as well, but you didn't really commit to it. But I decided to start making a book
Oh
where I could
yeah,
get all of my travel friends to write messages to me in it, so that from this point onwards, everywhere I go, I can get my friends to write in my book that I meet on the path. And this way, it's a way of sort of having a little message of everyone as I move forward in my life. So when I'm older, I can look back in my book, look at all the messages, and be like, oh wow, I touched this many people in this way, and like remember them for who they are based off the words they've wrote to me. What?
that is just I touched this many people. You did what, mate?
Yeah, funny. Just because you can't commit to even someone writing in a book, you started one then as well, and you stopped one day later.
No, I got everyone to write in it, but then I just thought it was really tedious.
What was tedious? You
Oh,
didn't have
just
to do
no,
anything.
I know, but I just couldn't be bothered, to be honest, mate.
Because there was a And for all of them, I'd really enjoyed writing in it, and it had been a really nice experience. I thought it'd be cool to have one myself as well.
It's a nice thought, but then it was just like our diaries that we decided to do and did for about a week
Well, I
before
didn't
giving up
do
on.
this one for a week though, mate. That was you in both scenarios.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really. I'm not that bothered about it though. Like, it is nice to have the memories and like being able to read it and kind of remember. Oh yeah, I did this and that with them. But I have the memories in my brain.
Oh yeah, it's just nice to have
So
a personal message off of a friend.
yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, I suppose if you're an emotional creature that needs to be often reminded
Jordan,
about them being loved
Jordan,
and stuff, and
what were you saying about how no one messages you back? Why do you think this is?
are you trying to make me cry, Dan? Uh, Look, all right. I have friends, okay? If I wanted them to write in my book, I'd get them to write in my book, okay? I didn't want to.
Anyway,
God, leave me
I
alone.
think this whole part may as well be cut because it's just turned into you mocking my book and then
No,
me
I think
mocking
we
you
cut
back
that.
because I'm like, why are you mocking it?
No, that's our humor. So, anyway, so that basically was our whole 6 months in Melbourne, which kind of spanned a long period of our traveling time. And we feel like it's a big good idea for people who are listening to the podcast for us to give like our highlights, our personal highlights about Melbourne, because I think it'll be quite interesting to listen to Dan's highlights, because while some of them will be the same, I think there'll be a couple of different things that we enjoyed as well together. So if you wanna, well, maybe we can take it in turns or something. You can say one, I'll say one, and then we'll
Until we
just
run
keep
out.
going until we run out.
Yeah?
If you want, so
Alright.
you can kickstart us if you want, man. So
Alright. So I think starting off, it has to be sort of one that was significant for both of us.
yeah.
So I'd suggest the beach rave would be
Yeah,
one of the
that
main,
has to be
purely
probably one
because
of the
it
biggest
was
ones.
sort of. I mean, we spoke about this in the last part, right? Kind of briefly.
Beach rave, potentially. We'll just recap it
Well,
quick
yeah.
anyway.
So this was during the first load of apartments we were in with our friends Ricardo and Toby and well, no, that's when we spoke about with Toby. But yeah, like we went to this rave at this place called Half Moon Rock, which is about half an hour outside, and we got quite a lot of people from our group to turn up in the end. But originally getting there, it was just us four boys from our apartment. It was me, Jordan, Toby, Ricardo, and we got there, and it was just when we first got there, it wasn't that busy.
Mm. We kind of,
They hadn't got that much of the DJ equipment down either, so like it felt quite empty, and the music was cool but not that loud, and like so we were like, okay, we'll see what happens with this. But literally, as the hours ticked over, hour to hour, it just grew and grew and grew
mm,
and grew to the point that I'd say by the end of it, there's nearly 2,000 people. And
oh, it
we've
was
messaged,
ridiculous.
as it's getting busier, we've messaged all of our friends. Loads of them have come. So now there's a big group of our friends there in this massive amount of people. All the DJ equipment's come down the rocks. The music's got better and louder, and they're putting better and better DJs on as the night progresses. And it just gets to this point where it's like, fuck, it's like, what is this? It's like
Yeah,
a film
it's
from a
like some
movie.
Project X, like some Project X
Well, it
party,
was
man.
literally like that because the police came and stopped
Yeah,
it. We
like
had a
the
police
police
helicopter
boats.
over us, shining
Yeah,
a light down.
there
And
was like a couple of police boats in the water, and they were kind of, I think, didn't they have like a megaphone and stuff? And they were like, oh,
yeah,
everyone like piss off.
it was just a very surreal. Like I remember that as one of my two moments whilst I was in Australia when
Mm,
I was looking out at the people in the water whilst I was listening to the music, and I remember it as one of the two moments where I thought to myself,
holy
"This is
fuck.
what life's about, man.
Yeah,
This is why sort of to exist, I suppose."
yeah.
It,
This is
it
a
was one
reason.
of two moments in Australia when I was just sort of stood there to myself, thinking, "This is it. this is what I love. And then,
Yeah, you kind of have an epiphany to yourself, and you're just like, oh my God,
yeah.
wow. You kind of really euphoric at that moment. It's just that sudden realization of, oh my God, like this is what I'm doing in my life. It's ridiculous, ridiculous.
And then, like, we were obviously we were at beach rave for the entire day. So by the end of it, very sunburned, very sort of messed up because we've been drinking loads and all that sort of stuff. And then we get on the tram home eventually once we get back to Melbourne, once we manage to get back there. And we literally go like an hour past our stop on the tram, and the trams have stopped. So we had to walk back to our apartment from an hour
Mm.
past our apartment because we were too busy talking about how good the rave was and how much we'd enjoyed.
Oh yeah, yeah, that was ridiculous. We missed it by like 2 or 3 stops.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, no, the beach rave was definitely has to be probably top three, top two moments in Melbourne. Um, yeah, so I'm gonna go. This one probably has a lot of meaning for both of us as well. I'm just gonna say it because it had such a significant part in our experience in Melbourne. I want to say Batman Park, man. Batman
What?
Park,
Just the location?
just the location, Batman
Okay.
Park, man. Like Batman, I'm gonna say again, Batman Park. Uh, just there's so many days where we just kind of spent hanging out as a group and just bonding, and kind of that's where the group grew.
It's where
And
most of the forming was.
yeah, and just so many different things happened. Like we'd go there and play football, we'd go there and pre-drink, we'd always go and get Domino's and then go and eat it in Batman Park, and kind of when the weather was nice, we'd go and sunbathe in Batman Park. It's like the meeting location is just like, oh, where do you want to meet? Oh, we'll meet in Batman Park. It was like the hub of everything we did.
Yeah, I
It's
will
like,
say this to someone who's listening that if you listen to this and go to Batman Park, it's because of the people, man. Like, you're
yeah,
not
it's not
gonna
the
go
best. Like,
there and love it.
yeah,
Because
it's
there's
not like this
also,
amazing park where you're gonna be like, whoa, like the botanical gardens.
there
If
has
you
a
want
lot of meaning
somewhere,
for us.
yeah, if you want somewhere that's beautiful and has really nice nature, go to the botanical gardens. Like that, that's fantastic.
Yeah, you'll say. Although one of the better parks was the one by our third apartment. What was it called? Flagstaff, where I
Ah,
kicked the girl
Flagstaff
in the head with
Gardens.
the football that time.
Oh yeah, yeah. Let's quickly talk about that. Well, there's not much to say really.
I
You
kicked the
kicked the,
girl in the head with the football.
you kicked a foot. It wasn't. Was it a
It
football?
was
Or was
like
it that
from
little
the
rugby ball?
in-betweeners. It was the little American football, the
It was.
pink one.
Yeah, he decided to do like a bloody drop kick with it, and you just saw it rolling along the ground like it was going fast as well. And there was this girl sunbathing, and her top of her head was just hanging there, and you just saw it happening from so far away. It just pop
Yeah.
straight on the
But
top of her head.
okay, here's the funny thing, right? I kicked the football and it hit her in the head, and after that, the girls, when they left, gave us free wine.
Oh yeah, yeah. They gave us like 2 boxes of goon.
But anyway,
Maybe
that's
she was concussed and she didn't know
yeah.
where she was anymore.
So Batman Park.
Batman Park.
That's a good one. Like, I'd
Yeah,
say
it's
I'd
just the
say
sentiment of it.
it's a people thing. Also, it's right on the river, which is nice. And
And you had the
on the
fires so
casino,
close.
they have the fires that go, which the first couple of times you see them are really, really
Mm,
cool to see.
yeah.
Um,
Oh, it's just like, oh, sweet fire.
there's a lot of memories there, yeah, for sure. Um, I think my third one, or our third one, if you will, my second. Um, this time I'm gonna pick the Christmas we did at the Swedish Girls,
Yeah.
because I just thought it was really cool. So it got to Christmas time, and sort of obviously that's the time you're usually with family and stuff. Well, where there were so many of us in Australia, they're all close. We decided to sort of do our own sort of Christmas, and the Swedish girls decided to cook, and they done a Swedish Christmas dinner for everyone. And there was the invite there to our whole group, and on top of it, it's like everyone brings stuff as well from like your own Christmas dinners or whatever you want to add to the pile. So loads of us bought different stuff like chocolate or wine, or like that was another thing. Everyone bring alcohol, so there's loads of that, and everyone came. There was about 30 of us, and we all had a Christmas dinner together. And once the food was done with, we started drinking and partying, and it was just a really good time with everyone that we were
Yeah.
close with in Melbourne. It just sort of solidified the bonds between everyone and showed sort of how much of a family it had become over the months.
Yeah, the feeling was so happy, man. It was a proper Christmassy feeling because
Because
obviously,
all of us were saying up to that point, it's like, look, it's really sunny and hot outside. It doesn't feel like it's Christmas, and that sort of brought
yeah,
it back a bit.
yeah, it did. The Christmas spirit was there, and that Christmas cheer.
Yeah,
Everyone was merry. Everyone kind of dressed up as well, didn't they? Everyone got like little Christmassy
in
hats and
red.
stuff, and
Yeah,
yeah. Oh no, it was so good, man. I just smile every time I think about that. It was
and
so
Dom
nice.
done his little weird dance. When
Oh,
everyone was dancing, Dom just jumped in the middle of it
I
naked.
got naked and decided to dance,
Yeah, as he
uh,
does.
as he does.
Yeah, but yeah, so that's my second one, I'd say.
Uh, okay. Um, I'm just gonna do this briefly, man. But one of my favorite moments in Melbourne was going to the top of the building, into the like the building site when we could see over the whole city. Because, like I said, I don't think maybe people have builders, but just seeing that view and knowing that you know you're going to be one of the only people to experience that view, being able to stand on that platform like 2 meters out from the building and just see the whole of Melbourne at night, like it was just one of the best views. I think probably one of the best views I'm ever going to see.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right. All right. My third one will be something that defined the first half of Melbourne for me. And this is that Great Ocean Road. Because we done it not long before we left for the banana farm for a day. And it was really, really cool, man. It was really cool. I mean, it was up till that stage in Australia or traveling in general for me, it was the most I'd done from a travel sort of standpoint. It's like you saw a lot of beautiful locations. You were with wildlife. I mean, I was seeing koalas at the Kennet River and kangaroos on golf courses, and parrots were coming and landing on me. And we were
Mm,
getting lost and doing our road trip and like in the dark and seeing the Milky Way in the sky. And that it was just literally travel. It was like we're lost, we're in the middle of nowhere, we don't know where we're gonna stay, but fuck me, look at that koala in that tree, or wow,
yeah,
look at the
man.
stars right now, or fuck it, let's just park up here and go chill on the deck and have a couple
Yeah.
beers and like tell stories. And it was one of those defining moments for me where I was kind of like, this is what Australia can be when you get out of the city.
Ah, for sure, man. Like go into the 12 apostles and going to pet the dingoes and that, man, that was unreal.
There was just so much packed into that trip, and it only lasted 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So going off of that as well, when we went to the Needles, was it?
Okay, yeah.
Where it's basically a place where you can go cliff diving into the water, and like the water's like crystal blue. We just rented a car. I think it was me, Dan, Pia, Eric, Lena, Stina, and a couple of their friends, a couple of their Swedish friends,
Mm.
and we all went and kind of just went cliff diving for the day. And then it was just like you said, kind of that travel experience. It's kind of what you're there to do, I suppose, to experience the country for what it is, go and have an adventure, go and get lost.
Yeah.
Which no, it was fun. It was really fun. I'd recommend to anyone. It's a nice day out, man. Just rent a car for the day, go
Do some cliff jumping.
do some cliff jumping.
Yeah.
It's quite hard to find though. I think it took us ages. We were going
Oh,
up and down
yeah.
the same road like
But
10
yeah,
times to
we
find
got
it.
very lost on that road. Um,
But yeah, nah, yeah, definitely the Needles. Check out like as well as the Great Ocean Road. It's in the opposite direction. It's more on the way to Sydney because like the Great Ocean Road is between Melbourne and Adelaide, and the Needles is between Melbourne and Sydney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And then I guess one that I can throw in here that Jordan wasn't there for, so it's specific to me, but and we haven't spoke about it all, but a festival that we went to called Elro. It was amazing, but like originally the way it started out was one of our friends called Simret. She'd brought it up in a group chat at some point, and she was just like, "Look at this! It seems really cool." And no one had commented on it at all, and I'd looked into it a bit more, and it's sort of this psychedelic sort of techno vibe music. And so I was just at the Swedish Girls when we were staying there one day, and I was just like, "What's going on with this?" And the Swedish Girls and Danish Lena as well. They're like, I don't know." And I was like, "Fuck it, I'm going. Like, I want to go and do a festival. I haven't done one since I've been here. I'm definitely going." I booked my ticket right there and then. The two Swedish girls and Danish Lena straight away were like, "We're going too." They booked, like I booked for them just because tickets were running out. And I posted in the group chat. I was like, "I've decided to book tickets. Stina and both Lenas have done it as well." And I just left it at that. And then I think within a day or two, there was like 20 of us that booked tickets, and everyone, like most of our group, was going. And it was kind of like, it was really cool where like I just was like, "I'm definitely doing this," and then suddenly everyone was going. And it was really cool when we got there as well. Like, I don't know, that like it's just one of those things when you're at a festival with loads of friends. It's like, I don't know, you get one of those vibes.
Mm.
Um, and actually, after the festival, when we went back to our friend's apartment, that was when I got my second "wow, this is life" moment, because we were all back at the apartment at like an after party kind of thing on like the 60th floor of a skyscraper looking out at the night sky on the city lights. And I was like, "Whoa, man, like this is awesome. This is such a cool life to be living right now with so many good friends doing so many cool
Yeah.
things that I'll remember for the rest of my life."
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that would be another one for me.
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna. Yeah, well, again, there's something that you didn't really do. I don't know if you ever did it, but when I was in Melbourne, when we were in Melbourne, there's a lot of really cool street art, and like you get like a lot of graffiti artists.
Yeah,
And the reason that I went to go and see this is pretty funny, but it's when I got fired. Well, when I was working at a place called Cranitis with Ricardo, and I decided not to go to work, and I went missing for the whole day. It's because I decided to go and just walk around Melbourne, and I went to this place called Hosier Lane, which
yeah,
is basically a whole street just dedicated to street art. Like the floors, the bins, the bikes, everything there is covered in spray paint, and you get some amazing pieces of art. When I was there, there was a mural of Tupac, and it
yeah,
looked so lifelike. And the thing that's really cool about Hosier Lane is that anyone can go there and paint. So
it's
every,
forever changing.
yeah, like it's literally always evolving, and there's always kind of a theme there that's going on at times. I don't know if like it's a thing that the theme this week is blah blah blah, and you'll kind of have to spray paint to that theme. But honestly, if you're in Melbourne and you like street art, man, go to Hosier Lane. You'll honestly love it. You'll get some crazy pictures there as well if you want to upload it to your Instagram and show off to all your mates.
Yeah.
But that man is, yeah, Hosier Lane. Go check out Hosier Lane for sure.
hmm
Have you got anything else you want to add?
Um, there are other things, but I feel like they're more minor. I feel like those were the standout memories to me in Melbourne.
Right.
Picking
Um,
other moments would just be fleshing out the experience, and I feel like for it
yeah,
to be our highlights, it has to be only the most special memories.
yeah, yeah, true, true. Yeah, definitely the special memories. But I just to add on top, like things. that you should probably do whilst you're in Melbourne, man. Go check out the hidden bars. Definitely, hidden
Yeah,
bars are amazing.
yeah, they're
Uh,
really cool.
Something you should definitely try is Revolver. Like it might not be your cup of tea, but Revolver's definitely something to try out. Skydeck is quite overrated, but you do get a really cool picture of the city.
Yeah,
New Guernica, if you like techno music, man, like New Guernica, in my opinion, is better than Revolver. So
yeah.
go check out New Guernica. That's really nice. Oh, actually, if you're really into kind of uh, anime, you've got the Asian Beer Cafe, which kind of it's a bar, but they literally show anime on the
Oh yeah, they
TV.
play Dragon Ball in the background
Yeah,
and stuff.
and you go into the toilets in the male toilets. Obviously, I don't know what the female toilets are like, and like you've just got anime all over the walls. They've got a whole mural in there with just loads of different anime characters, and I thought that was really, really cool.
Yeah. If you're into gambling, they have one of the best casinos in the world.
Yeah.
That wasn't ever one of our things, but our friend Leon definitely spent a lot of hours in there.
That was part of his tripod, his trifecta of things to do.
I'm sure he can discuss that with you guys in the future.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
What else? What other really cool things should people check out in Melbourne? Obviously, St Kilda. Like, go down to the beach in St Kilda.
yeah, I mean, oh yeah, well, actually, St. Kilda itself isn't necessarily something you have to check out, but going down there in the evening to see the penguins
Penguins.
is
Yes.
definitely something
Yes.
you should do. I forgot about
Yes.
that. That was really cool.
Yeah. You
Yeah,
go down the
if you
pier in St Kilda.
if you go there in the evening and you walk along the pier, they're not like your emperor penguins. They're little fluffy ones.
Yeah.
But
Right.
like if you go there at the right time, just as dusk is setting in, as it's
Yes.
getting dark and they're going to bed, that's when you should hit it up, and you'll see loads of little penguins coming back to go to bed in the rocks.
Yeah. Just something to be aware of as well when you go in to do it. There will probably be a woman with a red torch screaming at you, but don't take pictures with flash on because it can blind the
Yeah,
penguins.
yeah, it messes them up. Also, if you think one's swimming in the really shallow water, like I did, no, it's a rat.
Yeah, you never told me that.
Yeah,
It's
me,
quite.
me and
Oh,
Tom and that were like watching this one, and I was like, "Look, that one's swimming." And as it got closer, we realized it was a rat, and we're
he
like,
was
"Oh, go
sitting there
away!"
clapping over rat. It's weird that in it, like you give an animal so much more attention if it's cute. If it's ugly, you're just like, nah, fuck off, you little shit.
It's like you're common. Go away.
Yeah. It's like, oh, you ugly. Go away. I want to see the cute penguin.
Yeah, well, it's always more interesting when it's something
Yeah.
different, I suppose.
Yes.
Rats are everywhere. No one gets excited by a rat.
No.
You just
Oh,
catch
you just kind of
diseases.
shoo it away. Oh, don't give me rabies. Run.
Yeah.
Blah, blah,
Um.
blah. What else? What else? There's obviously so many cool things to do. Go down Chinatown. Chinatown's pretty interesting.
mhm. I feel like there's many things we could say here, but in general, I think we've given a good recounting of our time in Melbourne, and also I feel like we've explained what our best bits were, but also here's what I think: it's the same as any city you live in the world, guys. It's the people you know, because odds are if you're in a city, unless you're just rushing through it and you just want to see the best bits, it's all about the connections you make, because you're going to explore and like thrive in that city based on the friends you have. um, there's
Oh, yeah.
many people that probably get to a big city like Melbourne and they don't take the chance to make the friends there, and because of that they probably don't see it as being anything special. um,
Mm.
but I think the reason that it's on top lists for most livable cities in the world is because if you have a good set of friends around you in a city like Melbourne, there's literally endless possibilities for you to have things to do. There's so many
Yeah.
different bars and cafes, and if you go half an hour out of the city in this direction or that direction, suburbs, and like there's all sorts of things going on. And I don't know. I guess there's many things we never got round to doing in the city, and that's just a testament to how much there is to do when you've lived there for 6 months.
I think it's just going off of what you said and having people to experience Melbourne with is definitely one of the best things is kind of to be able to talk to your friends and recall all the fun things that you did with them in the city. Things wouldn't be nowhere near as cool as they were if you don't have the people to experience it with. Like, I think that is one of the joys of traveling is meeting people and sharing these amazing times with is definitely that. I think that is one of the biggest sell points of traveling, man, is yeah, going, meeting people and being able to just share amazing memories with, man.
Yeah, it's like this will be a future part of the podcast, but an example of just how close you become with these people, besides what we already said about having the Swedes that'll stay on their floor and things like that, is like when I went to Asia, there was a group of 9 of us that had only met in traveling in Australia. And we went to different countries together as a group exploring the world. And it's like, that's how close you become with these people. These will
Mm,
be the people that you go on your next adventure with. Like,
yeah, yeah, man. There's half the experience of traveling is meeting new people.
yeah,
So
I think,
don't forget that. When you go
yeah,
traveling, don't just think I'm here for the location. Think about the people that you meet as well. Invest time in both.
yeah. For you, I think for you to have a great time exploring a country and getting a feel for it and enjoying it and seeing all the cool things. I think something's only as cool as it is the people you're sharing it with. Like, if you see something yourself, yeah, it's going to be special to you. But if you share that memory with something else, it becomes that much more special because it's that cool thing you did together.
Definitely.
And it's that moment in time that you can look back on 20
Hmm.
years down the line and be like, do you remember when we did that?
Mm. It's what bonds you with people, man. Shared experiences. Like that's what creates lasting friendships. To have gone through something with someone, it doesn't have to be bad, but I'm saying coming out the other side, like good experiences, bad experience, whatever. To have done that with someone else, man, that makes you friends forever. And like
Yeah.
kind of,
Like I
I
look
know.
up,
Hmm?
I keep going.
I was gonna say, I know having experienced like loads of different things. I'm trying to think without spoiling anything, but going through the almond farm and stuff with friends that I met there, man. I know that I'm going to be friends with them for so long because we kind of survived it together. You know, you kind of work through it together and eventually come out the other side. And to have that shared mutual experience is something you can always, yeah, talk about and just be like, oh my God, do you remember when this happened? It
Yeah,
bonds you, man. Bonds you like crazy.
yeah, man. But yeah, I think that's a good ending point. We've spoken the last 2 parts about Melbourne. We've explored the city. We've talked about our highs and lows there. We've spoke about the people we've met, the cool things we've done, and hopefully we've given everyone listening a real feel for what it is like to be in Melbourne
Mm,
from more of a real viewpoint than a
yeah.
tour guide thing. We're not telling you all the best places to go. We're telling you these are the experiences we've had as real people who've travelled to Australia and been in Melbourne.
Hmm.
And I mean, there's no glitz and glamour to it. There's certain parts that are hard, but that makes the experience.
Yeah, sometimes you are going to be bored as shit.
Yeah,
Sometimes you will just watch Netflix in your hostel. But that is what traveling is. You're not always, like I said before, man, it's not all Tinder. It's not all Instagram.
it's not all Tinder, is it, mate?
It's not all Instagram moments, man. You're not at some amazing cliff 24/7. Like how rich are you expecting yourself to be? Jesus Christ. You're spending like 20 grand a week if you're doing that shit. But yeah, man, like just yeah, when you go traveling, just
Enjoy it for
enjoy
what
the
it
moment.
is.
Enjoy
Yeah,
the moment,
enjoy
man.
it for what
Like,
it is.
don't have any expectations. Just go there and just enjoy every moment. Enjoy the people that you meet. Enjoy the things that you see, and just yeah, man, just live carefree and just wander the world, free spirited like a fairy. Woo! There, but seriously, yeah. I hope that you enjoyed our Melbourne part of the podcast. And next time, I guess we'll get on to. Next time it's just me and Dan. We'll probably get on to being at our second farm,
Yeah, and this
numero
this time
dos.
we were actually there for long enough to tell you about the farm experience and give you an
Yes,
idea of what to expect.
yes. Spoiler: we semi-succeeded in something for once.
And another spoiler, we got there and turns out it's a shit show again.
Yes, yes. It. So yeah, stay tuned to find out how we fucked up on the almond farm.
All right, guys.
Uh,
Well, like I said, I think that's a good place to wrap it up. We've given you, I think, a good overview of what it is to be in Melbourne and what it is to be in the same location for half a year and make real, true life friends that you'll keep for a very long time, if not forever. Um, so, yeah, like we said, next time we speak to you, we'll either have another special guest on or we'll be speaking about our farm experience. Until then, see you next time.
bye bye.
Bye.
Toodaloo. Arrivederci.